All right, so good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It is the middle of the week, and so we are here for our weekly Bible study. So, before we get started, how's everyone doing this evening? How has your day been? Um, what are all your thoughts? How you feeling? How has your week been so far? I know we've had a numerous amount of events take place in the last 24 hours. So, how are people feeling uh, today? How's everyone feeling today? How has your day been so far? Let's start there. How has your day been? How has your day been so far today? And please forgive me. I thought I hit go live, but I didn't. I guess I didn't hit it. And Mother Wilson, good day, Griffin. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All is well. Yeah. Mother English, mine as well. Mine as well. Mine is going well. Thanks for asking. It is going. It is going well. It is going well. I pray that everyone has had an amazing day. Um, I pray that everyone is experiencing some level of peace um, within themselves right now. Um, we had a major move yesterday, and we still got a little ways to go, but um, we're getting there. We're getting there one step at a time. And I'm going to shift a little bit tonight because I feel like it is the perfect time to do it. So I want to shift just a little bit tonight um, and this setting because we have been talking about humility. Um, and it somewhat ties in, but we're going to shift just a little bit tonight because I think this will not only help you understand, currently where we are, but then also understand the facets of your life, right? Um, and that is the perspective of fairness versus justice, right? I think a lot of times we may feel like things in our life aren't fair, um, but we don't fully understand that although it may not feel fair in the moment, you will be better from the justice of it later. And I'm going to tie that in so that that makes sense to you. There are some things that we experience in life that don't seem fair. However, we serve a just God, which means what doesn't feel fair in the moment will bring you ultimate satisfaction later down the line because we do serve a just God. Okay. So I want to start here tonight um, with this here. And I think this is the perfect segue to what we've experienced over the last about 24 hours. This has been about a year in the making. And many of us remember how we felt when that top picture took place. We remember the emotions. We remember the destruction that we saw. We remember the world literally feeling like it was turned upside down. Businesses uh, ruined and things burnt down, and a great public outcry for what we deem to be justice. Um, and this is a prime example uh, of what Romans 12:19 says when it says, "Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord." And so, consequently, when we initially saw and experienced, a lot of us experienced this top picture. We saw the video multiple times. I believe I even presented this as well last year sometime during Bible study. I remember teaching on this. And it's funny how the Lord has brought us back. Brandon, I love you, man. It's funny how the Lord has brought us back to this moment here now to see the fullness of it. And in that moment, it did not seem fair. It did not seem fair because there was a black man lying on the ground, handcuffed, not presenting any danger, not harming anyone, doing what was asked of him, and still there was a knee on his neck, which consequently resulted in his death. And so the cop was arrested, and then he was released on bail and had to await trial, right? And many of us felt like it was not fair. It was not fair. The evidence is right there. Everything you need is right there in that moment. And it's not fair that it seems like this person is getting away with something that we deem is wrong, right? And if we're honest, there are moments where the Lord has us in places where we feel like it's not fair. Like it's not, God, you see what they're doing to me. You see what they're saying about me. You see how they're trying to damage me. You see the things that are being made up. You see the things that are not accurate. And yet and still, it feels like they are able to just move on with no consequences. They're able to just move on with little to no accountability, right? And so we have felt over this time that top picture and him, even some of us feel like he don't even deserve no trial. It is blatant. It is very intentional. He was not trying to save him or detain him. He was trying to do exactly what he accomplished, which was kill him and silence him, right? And so sometimes our troubles come to try to silence us. Our troubles come to try to close our mouths. Our troubles come sometimes to literally try to suck the life out of us. And many of you on here can be honest and say that you have experienced sometimes in your life where you say, God, this just is not fair. Come on. Some of you can, God, this is why do I always got to be quiet? Why do I always got to be the bigger person? Why do I always got to be the one that tries to make things right? Why am I always the one that's reaching out? Why am I always the one trying to fix things? God, why? It's not fair. It is not fair. And in moments like that, we feel that God is not treating us with the things that we feel like we deserve, right? This is not fair to me. How come when I do it, I have the sense of accountability, but when they do it, it's okay, and they get away with it, and they're walking around as if nothing happened, and there's no consequence to them. There's no retribution to them. There's nothing that's coming behind their actions, right? Their actions deem the fact that the way they're treating me is not fair. And so because it's not fair, what we do a lot of times is try to make sure that we let them know what they're doing is not fair, and ultimately end up putting ourselves in a position of trying to do what God is already handling. Okay. So here it is. Because you don't see it, and because it's not happening as fast as you desire it, and because it doesn't seem like you're getting the result or the response that you want, we consequently try to insert our helping hand in the equation and ultimately make things worse than they need to be. When in all aspects, God is trying to see, can you be patient? Can you trust me? Can you believe in me? Can you still walk with me? Can you still be upright? Can you still uphold the standards? Even if the situation I put you in does not seem fair. There's no doubt in my mind that the things that we experience are a result of the way that God has designed our life to be. Yes, we have choices. Yes, we have options, but there are things that God puts us in to see what our response will be. There are moments where he says to the enemy, have you considered my servant Eddie? Have you considered my servant Mother Wilson? Have you considered my servant Deborah? Have you considered my servant Jeffrey? Have you considered my servant Brandon? There are moments when the Lord will test you by way of the enemy to see what your response is going to be. Well, Pastor, how do you know that? He said to the enemy, have you considered my servant Job? Now, Job, according to the scripture, was an upright man. Job was a faithful husband. Job was faithful over his land. Job was a faithful father. Job handled things according to the laws and the principles that Christ gave him. But it was God that said, have you considered my servant? God asked him, have you considered him? And when God, watch this, when God is trying to get you to the next level, he will utilize what he chooses to test you to see if you have learned the lesson. And a lot of the things that you experience is not about God not being fair, is God testing you to see if you have learned your lesson so he can show you just how just he is. Talk, Pastor. It's not about God trying to make you cry. It's not about God bringing you to your knees. It's not about God being angry with you. It's not about God not wanting to see you make it. Sometimes God just wants to see, when I put you in this situation that stretches you, that makes you feel uncomfortable, that makes you feel like God has forgotten, that makes you feel like people are turning on you, that makes you feel like things are going in the wrong direction, what will your response be? What will your response be? And if God didn't teach us anything during this time, he showed us through this situation that he is a just God and he will handle everything that is going on. And let me tell you something. When things happen to you, God has a way of humbling the things that come to humiliate you. I'll say it again. I'll say it slow for you so you can write it down. God has a way of humbling the things that come to humiliate you. God has a way of humbling the things that come to humiliate you. And you have to make sure that when the trouble comes, that when it's moments where it seems unfair, where it's moments where you feel like you're getting attacked from every single side, to the moments where you feel like, I don't know what is going on. Why is this happening this way? Why is God allowing this to be this way? Why are they doing this to me? Why are they adding me and stuff that I have nothing to do with? Why is my name coming up and stuff that I don't even have knowledge of? Why are people just adding equations to the story and I don't even understand what is going on? You have to understand that God is not about them. It's about your response. It is about your ability to be able to look trouble in the face and say, this may not feel fair right now. However, I know that I serve a God that is just, and whatever does not seem fair, it will work out for my good because he is a just God. And whatever is coming against me now that is unfair, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I serve a God that will repay me. God will not only repay the entity that has come against you, but God will reward you and repay you for your ability to stand when you felt like sitting, for your ability to remain when you felt like leaving, for your ability to continue to work when you felt like stopping. God has a way of repaying you when you feel like you are getting a bad hand dealt to you. God has a way. God has a way. How do you know? Listen, let me tell y'all something. The last few days have been some of the most trying times for me as a leader, as a pastor, as a man, as a human. It has been a test. And sometimes God will allow you to be privy to stuff to see how your response will be. Let me tell y'all something. I laid down last night and I told the Lord, listen, everything that's going on right now, you're going to have to handle it. I'm leaving it alone, because if I handle it my way, if I open up my mouth, if I respond, I know for a fact I'm going to handle it the wrong way. So what I'm going to do, here we go, pride, humility, right? I'm going to put my pride to the side. I'm going to sit in the seat of humility. I'm going to let you handle it. And I'm going to trust by the morning, all shall be well. When I got up today, somebody texted me, and let me say this to you. It is not always a financial way that God will show you that he is there. There are many ways that God will show you. But let me tell you something. When I woke up today, somebody said to me, send me your Cash App, because I want to bless you, because you have been covering me nonstop. And not covering and covering my mess, not covering and letting me do whatever you want. No, you've been covering me in prayer. You have been reaching out to me. You have been checking on me. You have been holding me accountable. Come on, y'all. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. Yes, absolutely. I was to the point where I said, you know what? If I handle this my way, I'm going to close a whole lot of stuff up. I'm going to fold a lot of people. I'm going to fold a lot of people. If I handle this the way I want to, it's going to be a whole lot of dominoes falling. But I said to the Lord, I'm not going to do it. I've come too far. I know without a doubt this is a test, because some of this stuff don't even make no sense. This is not even logical. And what you have to understand is when dishonest people connect with each other, there's just a lot of dishonesty, and it doesn't turn out positive, because a negative plus a negative ain't never got no positive. So when you just got dishonesty plus dishonesty connecting, it's going to equal confusion. But you have to understand that the confusion comes to see if you are connected enough with God to say, even though this moment don't make sense, even though this moment doesn't seem fair, even though this moment is making absolutely no sense to me, I'm going to trust that in this state right now that you have me in because there's something down the line. And I don't want any of you to forsake what's down the line because of what you are experiencing in this moment. I know some of you are experiencing some things that are unfair. I know some of you are experiencing some things that are just facts. I know some of you are experiencing some things that just are not true. But listen to your leader tonight. You have to put your trust and faith in God to know when you put it back in his hands, God is going to handle it and you will come out all right. I'm not telling you what somebody told me. I'm telling you what I am experiencing right in this moment. My life was blessed for the simple fact that I was wise enough to remain humble in my own state and trust God to handle it. And when you trust God to handle it, you can't mess it up. I'll say it again. When you trust God to handle it, you can't mess it up. We mess it up because we're trying to aid God, and God don't need no help. He don't need no help. All right, so here we go. Let's look at this tonight, right? So let's look at Psalms 37. We're going to look at Psalms 37, verses 27 through 29. Psalms 37, verses 27 through 29. 37, 27 through 29. And so this theme of this book that David wrote this, and the theme is to trust in the Lord and wait patiently for him to act. Okay. So the whole focus of chapter 37, David's overarching theme is for God's people to understand that, number one, we must wait patiently, and number two, we must understand that God is going to be the one that must act in certain areas. Okay, so we must trust in the Lord, and we must wait patiently for him to act. And so Psalms 37:27 starts, it says, turn away from evil and do good, so shall you dwell forever. Okay, 28, for the Lord loves justice. The Lord loves justice. He will not forsake his saints. They are preserved forever, not for a season, not for a moment, not for a day, not for an hour, not for a minute. For the Lord loves justice, and he will not forsake his saints. They are preserved forever. But the children of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell upon it forever. So if you look at this particular book right here, if you look at this particular structure, David is giving us a perspective, saying to us, listen, there are going to be times where things you encounter do not feel fair. Things that you encounter just don't seem right, right? People that you encounter won't treat you according to who you are. And that and we must listen, we must understand that some people will always refer to your past because they don't want to accept your future. Talk, Pastor Craig. I'll say it again. You have to understand that when some people get a glimpse of your future, they will always refer to your past because they do not want to accept your future. But your future is not tied to what they think. Your future is not tied to what you did before. Your future is not tied to the mistakes that you made. Your future is not tied to what they know, what they spread about you, what they make up about you. You should be grateful when you find out that you are a topic of discussion, because if you are discussing me and I ain't even got my future yet, that lets me know that I'm not only a threat to the kingdom, but I'm a threat to every entity that is coming against me. And so we got to stop getting so upset. And I'm telling y'all what I had to learn myself. We got to stop getting upset when you find out that people don't have such nice things to say about you, or people have an opinion about the decisions you make, or people have an opinion about who you talk to, or people have an opinion about who you deal with, or people have an opinion about what you wear, or people have an opinion about what you drive, where you go, what you eat. People will always have an opinion about what you are doing, but you have to be confident in the fact, knowing that God is going to take care of every facet of my life. It's not, they don't have to like it. They don't have to approve it. They don't have to cheer me on. You have to be confident in the fact that what people say about you does not equal what God called you. I'll say it again. You have to be confident in the fact that what people say about you does not equal what God called you. Yes, you have made some mistakes. Yes, you have fallen. Yes, you have found yourself in some places that you did not think you would end up in. But trust and believe that God does all things well. And wherever you fail, he destined it that way. Wherever you messed up, it was a part of the plan. Wherever you made decisions that were not the best, it was a part of the plan. But what you must understand is that you have to learn to turn the chapter and understand that although failure was a part of the plan, success was a part of the plan also. Although mishaps was a part of the plan, retribution was a part of the plan also. And the enemy is not afraid of what you used to be. The enemy is afraid of what you're getting ready to become. And so in order to knock you off,
of where you're going, he will try to frustrate you with things and make you say, well, this is not fair. So now I'm going to become impatient and I'm going to do the things that I want to do because it feels like God is not there. It feels like God has forgotten about me. It feels like people are going ahead of me. We have to learn to be patient and wait until God gives us the okay. Sit still and let them go by you. Sit still and let them be elevated upon you. Sit still and let them go on where they're going. But I guarantee you, as a prophet of the Lord, if you sit still and be patient and wait for God and his appointed time, your future will be secure. Your future will be secure. Justice and the standard definition, it says just behavior or treatment. Now, justice from the biblical perspective means to make it right. Okay? To make things right. There are some people that will never make it right. I'm going to say it to you right here. There are some people that's never going to admit the truth to you. There are some people that will never step up and say, yes, I said it and I was wrong. My question to you tonight is, are you going to let someone's inability to show integrity to cause you to mess up your future? You're waiting on an apology, and so your behavior is off, your posture is off, your attitude is off, your mindset is off. There are some people that will never show you the justice or offer you the justice that you deserve. But in order for you to understand fully what justice is and how it comes about, you have to understand the fullness of it. And the first thing you have to understand is that justice is a relational term, right? People living in right relationship with God, one another, and natural creation. And so when you aren't in relationship with people, this is why you got to be careful who you connect yourself to. You got to stop broing and sissing everybody. Everybody ain't your bro and your sis. Some people are just Christians that you encounter along the way. Some people are just children of God that you encounter along the way. Because if you're my brother and if you're my sister, then I have a relationship with you, which means when I do you wrong, I'm able to come and say, listen, I didn't handle that right. We got to stop trying to connect with so many people. Watch this, because our hearts are right and we want to be in good relationship, but we have to make sure that the connections that we make are not so emotionally tied that wisdom is not used. There are some relationships that are just for that moment. You don't need my phone number. We don't need to connect again. We don't need to link up. Why? Because where they're going and where you going is not on the same wavelength. And so what happens is we connect ourselves to people that we shouldn't connect to, and then it ends up altering and teetering our progress. It ends up altering and teetering our thoughts. It ends up altering and teetering our decisions. And now we find ourselves in a state of confusion because we've now tried to make a relationship. We've tried to make this connection relational when it was never relational. It was only transactional. Talk, Pastor. There are some encounters that are not relational. They're just transactional. What do you mean? This is just a moment in which we encounter each other. This is just a moment in which we stand together. This is just a moment in which we work together to try to get something accomplished. This is a transactional moment, but relational moment says, I got you no matter what. And when I'm wrong, I'm going to come make it right. And when I feel like you wronged me, I'm going to let you know. See, here's the thing. You can tell when things are relational and things are transactional. Well, how do you know that? Because transactional people oftentimes play the victim. Transactional people will leave the mess and let it stay controversial and try to go somewhere else. Transactional people will remove themselves from the controversy and try to go and wait and see what happens, and then they'll show back up when everything has blown over. And we have to get rid of the transactional situations and look for more relational situations. See, relational situation says, no, let's sit down at the table. Let's have a conversation about this. Relational conversations say, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the one that I have the problem with. And because things are so transactional, we get so many other entities involved. And what happens is it becomes a ball of confusion instead of a moment of sobriety. Talk, Pastor. I believe I will. And we have to put ourselves in the forefront of saying, I will no longer allow transactional entities in my life. And if it's not relational, if it is not beneficial to me, if I cannot grow from it, if I cannot depend on it, if it cannot help me, if it cannot hold me accountable, if it cannot push me, I want no part. And we rely, talk, Pastor, on transactional entities because they feel good in the moment. We rely on transactional entities because it serves a purpose for short-term success, short-term happiness, short-term sobriety. But I want to encourage you tonight to get away from the mindset of transactional and find something that's relational. We don't want relational because we don't want to be held accountable. We don't want relational because we don't want nobody to challenge us. We don't want relational because we don't want nobody to pull our coattail. But if you are going to see the benefit that God has for you, you got to remove the transactional people and only allow relational relationships. If it's not relational, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Justice is first and foremost a relational term. People living in right relationship with God, one another, and natural creation. And God is just and loving. So we are called to do justice and live in love. You cannot say that you love God and you are not willing to be just to his people. Ooh-wee. Talk, Pastor. You cannot say that you love a just God and you are not willing to handle his people the way he handles you. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. I pride myself on the fact of being able to sit down at the table and say, if you felt that way, I apologize. And I never knew that I made you feel that way. I never knew my actions depicted that. I never knew that when I did that, it made you feel that way. Why? Because God is just always just to me. So even if I'm unaware of it, watch this, even if it was not intentional, even if I did not deliberately do it, your pride should be down low enough and you should be seated in the seat of humility that says, listen, even if I didn't mean it, I'm going to still apologize, because at the end of the day, you deserve to be dealt with in a just way, the same way God deals with us. We want God's hand, but we give people our behinds to kiss. Yeah. We want God's hand. We want God to be just, but we aren't just to anybody. We aren't just to anybody. We can't rely on the justice of God. if we don't understand that there are some moments where I have to be just to my brother, I have to be just to my sister. And if they're really your brother and sister, then when do you stop and say, we're not doing that? We're not doing that. Why? Because somebody that bought the story from the beginning. See, this is how it goes. You get a story from somewhere and you take it to somebody. And now you got two people. And then the second person takes it to the third. And now they've added and subtracted. And now the third person takes it to the fourth. And now they've deleted, added, subtracted, put things in, took things out. Now they've given it to the fifth person. And now by the time it reaches all the way back to the original source, the story is totally changed. Why? Because we don't operate in trust. We operate in transactional moments. But when do we say, listen, I don't know enough about the situation. It's too many things going on in the situation for me to respond. But what I can say is there are moments where you just got to be quiet. There are moments where you just got to stop talking. And a lot of the noise and a lot of the things would end if we stop involving ourselves in things that are transactional. But when you when you are not relational with people, you allow the information that is brought to you to become transactional. And then you pass from one to the next. And by the time innocent people are hurt, because by the time it comes back, everybody has added their own piece. Everybody has put whatever they want on it to make the story sound a little bit better than it was when it originally started. And now we're dealing in a space of injustice. This goes in the workplace. This goes in the church. This goes in our families. Come on, this goes amongst our friends. We have to understand that if we are going to deal with people that we love, we must be just. We must be just. Now watch this. Watch this. Scripture says here, 27, watch this. 27 says, turn away from evil and do good. So shall you dwell forever. What we must do is we must always consider the big picture. We get in trouble when we just look in the small micro moment. We look in the we live in the micro moment. But we have to learn to consider the big picture. There will be moments when you feel like God is not being fair. However, Scripture tells us that those moments shouldn't cause you to consider evil, because God is always just. And many of the moments have been ruined because we don't fully understand. We talk about tests. We talk about turmoil. We talk about transition. We talk about trials. But we don't want to live through any of these. And there are areas, these areas produce a not fair mentality. However, God is using them for a just ending. And so we want a testimony, but we want a testimony illegally. Ooh, we want the great story, but we want it illegally. We want the great ending, but we want it illegally. And so when the season of tests come, we get frustrated and we quit. When the season of turmoil comes, now we nasty to everybody. When the season of transition comes, Now we're looking to blame everyone. But what you don't understand is you're looking for a testimony that you're trying to get illegally. See, your testimony is a part of the test. Your testimony has the turmoil attached to it. Your testimony has the transition attached to it. And so you're trying to provide a testimony based on entities that you did not encounter. And so now what we do is we fabricate a story, or we enlarge a story, or we make up a story because we're trying to get something that we have not legally acquired. Your testimony is tied to your tests, your turmoil, and your transition. And although it may not feel fair, you cannot take on the mentality of this is not fair for me, because what you will do is you will mess up the just ending God is trying to give you. You cannot live in the season and the space of this is not fair. You cannot live in the mindset of this is not fair. Yes, be realistic and speak it in that moment. This don't feel fair, but then you got to move on from there. See, you can't live, well, this not fair. And why this one doing this? And why this one doing that? And why is it this way? And why is it that way? And why is this going this way? And why is it, but the last time I checked, the same Bible that I have, you have, says, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you and set you apart. So you're trying, watch this, to equate your story with the story of somebody else's. But when God separated you and set you apart, your stories weren't identical. You're trying to get the same ending as somebody else, when God has said, I've made you uniquely. I've set you apart from the foundation. I already knew what your ending was going to be. But can you trust me during the test, during the turmoil? Can you trust me during the moments of transition? Can you still trust me? Even though it doesn't seem fair, can you trust me to know that my ending will produce justice? And so we get out. And we quit, and we start blaming, and we start pointing the finger. Well, if they didn't, you can't worry about they. Well, did you understand what they said to me? And God is saying, and what did you say to them? God did not ask you to understand. God's requirement is that you trust him. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. I'll say it again. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I will fear no evil. Why? For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You're walking through this test. You're walking through turmoil. You're walking through transition. But realize you're walking through it. You're not going to die in the test. You're not going to die in the turmoil. You're not going to die in the transition. God equipped you to walk through it. Why? Because thy rod and thy staff are comforting you. God is right there with you. But we have become so reliant on man that we no longer trust God to bring us through. And if my homie don't encourage me, now I feel some type of way. And if my boo don't encourage me, now I'm angry. And if the pastor don't call me every other day, now I'm leaving the church. And if the elder don't come rub me on my back, now people talking about me. When do we understand that everybody got a test? Everybody got a turmoil. Everybody got a transition. And baby, it's not that we don't care. We're trying to walk through it just like you. But we want a testimony that we don't legally have. And so for the sake of us not being honest with ourselves and saying, I did not walk through this, I will create something that makes it look like I did something that I didn't do. And you may be able to deceive people, but you'll never be able to deceive God. And you're trying to figure out why things haven't happened for you yet, because you're operating off a testimony that's not yours. You're operating off a story that you heard somebody else say. But when are you going to sit still long enough to endure the test? When are you going to stand still long enough to endure the turmoil? When will you trust God long enough to go through every transition, knowing although it don't seem fair right now, God is using this because my ending will be better? Scripture says better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. We want better, but we don't want to be patient and wait till the end. They haven't served as long as me. How they got that? Don't worry about how they got that. They haven't been as faithful as me. How did they get? Don't worry about how they got that. Anything worth having is worth being patient for. Anything worth having is worth being patient for. And we're in such a rush to get what we see others have, not knowing you, Lord help me, not knowing you may not have the grace for that thing right now. But be patient, so when your day comes, you don't fumble it. Be patient, so when your day comes, you don't abuse it. Be patient, so when your day comes, you don't mistreat it. Be patient, so when your day comes, you don't kill the thing that you've been waiting on. And so when God doesn't move the way we want to move, when God doesn't do what we want him to do, and when God doesn't speed up things according to our time clock, now we go and try to create what we want it to be, and consequently come up with an illegal testimony that God has not given us. We must understand the value of being patient, knowing God is going to be just. The next phase of your lives are intact, but you have to be patient. You have to be patient. The next phase of your lives are already set. The next phase of your lives are already in motion. The next phase of your lives are already moving in the direction of you right now. But if you don't understand the value of being patient, if you don't understand the necessity of being patient, if you don't understand the responsibility of waiting, you will blow it. Many of you have been waiting for this time that God is bringing to you right now. Some of your futures are tied to the fact that when it wasn't fair, you didn't leave God. Many of your futures are tied to the fact that when they didn't treat you fair, you kept your mouth closed. Many of your futures are tied to the fact that when they didn't handle you in a fair manner, you still handled them with respect. And God has set up your life for this moment right here to say, I'm getting ready to show you, although it wasn't fair, I am just. I am just. And I am going to handle this and handle you in the perspective of which I always promise. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Your days of begging are over. Your days of pleading are over. Those days are gone. But you gotta be patient in the moments where it seems unfair. There are moments as a pastor where I say, God, this is not fair. If people only really knew the sacrifice, if people only really knew the struggle, if people only really knew the internal battle that I have day by day, walking the way that you acquire me and expect me to walk. God, they don't even really understand. And God said it's not for them to understand. It's for you to be patient until I move the way I promised you I would. There are moments where I say, God, is it even worth it? Is this even worth it? Some of this stuff, God, is just absolutely out of control. Is this even worth it? And God said, did I ever ask you if you were worth it when it wasn't going right? God said, did I ever ask you if you were worth it when you weren't following my laws? Did I ever ask you if you were worth it when you were doing what you wanted to do? Did I ever ask you if you were worth it when you did not want to comply? And humility makes me say, God, I'm going to be patient and trust you. And every time it comes back around, God shows me down the road the just hand of me understanding the test, the turmoil, the trial that I experienced there was all because of the justice he was providing there. And so you may sit in a seat that feels unfair there, but that's because God is setting up a seat of justice over here. You just got to be patient enough to trust that God is going to do exactly what he said. Fairness, justice sounds the same. Two different things. Two different things. There are moments that you are going to encounter, even in the future. There are moments you're going to encounter. It's not fair. That's not fair. God, how did you let them do that? That's not fair. When Job sat there, he lost everything. He lost everything. His children. He lost his children. He lost his cattle. He lost his field. He lost his crops. He lost it all. And his wife said, you should curse God and die right now. This is the God you serve? How can you walk upright and God calls you to lose everything? That's not fair. But you know what Job said? He said, you foolish. You foolish. And he gave her a principle. He said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. But blessed be the name of the Lord forever. He got the double because he was able to sit in a state of unfairness and trust the just hand of God. My question to you, and I'm done. Can you sit in the seat that's unfair until God raises you to the place that is just? I'll say it again. Are you willing to sit in the seat that is unfair until God raises you to the place that is just? And it takes the patience of Almighty God to allow you to sit still long enough until he raises you to the place of justice. I love y'all. I love y'all. I said verse 27 through 29, and I only got through one verse. Okay. I love y'all. I really, really do. I really do. And I want each of you to hear my heart tonight. You will encounter moments that are unfair. There will be moments where the ones you love will handle you in an unfair manner. There will be moments where the ones you dealt with in integrity will mishandle you, and it seems unfair. My question to you is, are you willing to trust God enough to say, I'll sit here in this moment and state until you raise me to where I know you can? And every time I've done it, the Lord has never, ever, ever failed me. And he will not fail you. He will not do it. Listen, we want to be a blessing tonight. I'm going to end here. We want to be a blessing tonight. As you know, we do every week our $10. I just want you to, if you get your $10, and let's go to our Cash App, $ Kingdom DT. Mother Wilson already said done. Once you sow it, just put done. Tiff, love you too. I've been praying for you. I'm praying God open a new job for you. I know you working overnight ain't working for you. I pray God open a new door for you. Hang in there, Tiff. It's gonna get better for you. I'm telling you. You have overcome. But Tiff, you've always been a fighter. From my days in high school, you've always overcome the odds, and God hasn't changed. Nate, I love you, man. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you guys. I love you. Come on, just type done in the comments. Type done. Sabrina, I love you too. I love you too. I love y'all, man. Y'all have no idea. I love y'all. Come on. I see y'all. Des, I love you. Lisa, thank you. Thank you. I see you guys. I see you saying done. Come on, get that $10 seed tonight. Let's bless the Lord tonight. Let's get that $10 seed tonight. Let's bless the Lord tonight. Sister Judy, I got you. I see you. Come on, type done in the comments. Type done. Pastor Brown, I love you. Amazing on Sunday. Amazing. I see you guys. Come on. Key, thank you. Happy admin day to you. Hey, y'all. Y'all say happy admin day to my big three. I drive them absolutely. Well, I drive anyone that works with me crazy. Danny, I see you. Danny, I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. Tweet, love you. But can y'all say, Nate, love you, man. Can y'all say happy admin day to LD-elect Eddie, Sister Key, and Sister Spring? They are the three-headed monster that works with me, and I'll tell you, I drive them crazy. I know anybody that works with me, I know I drive them crazy. But and I literally mean that. Any leader in that church will tell you, Pastor drives me absolutely crazy. I know I do. But happy admin day to you guys. You guys are the push behind me that a lot of people don't see. A lot of people see you in person, but they don't know the endless hours you put in behind closed doors. And I want y'all to hear me. I believe one day God is going to allow me to pay them what they're worth. I do. I believe one day when God gives us the campus, Mom Mary, I love you. I believe God is going to allow me to pay those people. I believe we are going to have a self-sufficient ministry that will pay people what they are worth. I believe in it. But happy admin day. Yes, the Three Musketeers. Those three, they put them heads together and I give them something and they just run with it. And I am so grateful
to them. Elder Eddie works for, he's my personal admin. He handles all my books. He handles a lot of the things for the church. Sister Spring has been working tirelessly, endlessly, financially. Like, you guys don't know the amount of work that she puts in. It's more than just collecting money. It's more than just paying people. It's more than just making sure the books is balanced and the bills are paid. There's a lot of administrative work that she puts in to make sure that the finances are good, finding finances that we can use, building relationships with people that will help us continue to build, right? We love God, and we believe that God can give us favor, but you also need resources. And then Sister Key deals with so many different aspects, from the building to the upkeep of the building to leases to, so these three, they really make the machine run. They make the machine run, and it allows me to bring up other leaders in the ministry that play so many different parts that move. And I'm grateful for every single leader. But those administrators, I am really grateful to you guys, and happy admin day to you. And Pastor's going to have something for you. I gotta do something for you guys. I haven't figured it all out yet, but I'm going to do something special for you, because I really appreciate all that you guys have done for me. All right, listen, pray for me as I pray for you all. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And let me say this. I want to say this because I've gotten a lot of text messages. Pastor, are you okay? Pastor, is everything fine? So a lot of the quotes that you see are excerpts from my book that I'm writing. And so I'm in the process of writing a book right now. And so The Treasure Within is, I'm in the process of writing that. And in the process of writing that, there are moments where certain things that the Lord has given me to write stand out to me. And so a lot of times you'll see, my Bitmoji, the thinking guy, right? And I'll put a quote up. Nothing has happened. Nobody has done anything to me. It's an excerpt from my book. And when I feel like it can help someone, I post it, right? So nobody has to think anything is wrong. Nobody has said anything to me. Nobody has done anything to me. In the process of writing my book, there are some things that the Lord has given me that stand out to me. And so I like to share them because I wanted to stand out to some people. There's some people that may not read the whole book. There are some people that, may not be in touch when the book is released. So I try to give it out when I feel like it really hits me. And so when you see certain quotes with the thinking guy, it's an excerpt from the book that I'm putting up just to help somebody or give somebody a thinking point. Okay. So a few people have reached out to me like, Pastor, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? And they was like, I looked at your post, and I'm like, no, that's from my book. It's nothing wrong. Just an excerpt from my book. For me, I am also officially working on my doctorate degree as well. And so pastor's hours are extremely limited. I know some of you may feel the distance right now, but it's not because anything is wrong. Pastor's working. I'm working because I want to have the knowledge and I want to have everything I can to be able to build you guys and make sure I'm preparing you for your future. And I can't fully prepare you for your future if I am not prepared with the tools to supply you with. All right. So pray for me. I'm praying for you guys. I love and appreciate every single last one of you. This Sunday, we are back inside of the sanctuary. And a lot of our major top tier people will be back. We had a few key entities out this week just from sickness, man, and sickness just trying to overtake our people. But I rebuke it. I rebuke it. And so many of our leaders were out. People that never get sick just ended up sick, and everybody was sick at one time. But what it showed was just how strong the church is. Because Sunday was something disgusting. Sunday was something disgusting. And so I appreciate each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. I pray that God keep you. I pray that your future continues to remain bright. I pray that your confidence in yourself remain strong. And I pray that you remain focused. You remain focused and you continue to push into the realm and the space that God has for you. All right. So, Father, we thank you and we bless you. Thank you for every gift. Thank you for every giver. Thank you for every person here tonight. Thank you for their loyalty. Thank you for their continuity. Thank you for their consistency. Thank you for their constant push and their faithfulness. And Father, I pray that you continue to bless them, even in the moments that seem unfair. I pray that you give them a peace to help them know that you are still just. We believe you, we trust you, and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen. I love y'all, and I see you guys on Sunday.